Most people believe that success begins with motivation. They wait for the perfect morning, the perfect mood, or the perfect moment to finally change their lives. They tell themselves, tomorrow I'll wake up early. Tomorrow I'll start exercising. Tomorrow I'll focus. But tomorrow keeps moving further away. Days become weeks, weeks become months, and eventually they begin to wonder why nothing has changed. The uncomfortable truth is that motivation is one of the least reliable forces in human psychology. It comes and goes like the weather. Some mornings you feel unstoppable, while on others even the smallest task feels impossible. If your goals depend on motivation, then your progress will always depend on chance. Real transformation begins the moment you stop chasing motivation and start building discipline. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what needs to be done. It allows you to move forward even when your emotions tell you to quit. This is why the world's greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, military leaders, and performers rarely talk about feeling motivated. Instead, they build systems that keep them moving regardless of how they feel. They understand something that most people never realize. Your future is determined far more by your daily habits than by your occasional bursts of inspiration. But if discipline is so powerful, why is it so difficult? The answer lies deep inside your brain. Your mind wasn't designed to make you successful. It was designed to keep you alive. Thousands of years ago, survival depended on conserving energy and avoiding unnecessary risks. Our ancestors who rested whenever possible, sought immediate rewards, and avoided danger were more likely to survive. Although the world has changed dramatically, your brain still follows many of those ancient survival programs. Every time you choose to scroll through social media instead of studying, binge watch another episode instead of working, or procrastinate on an important project, your brain isn't trying to destroy your future. It's simply choosing the option that requires the least effort while providing the quickest reward. Understanding this changes everything. It means you're not lazy by nature. You're running on mental software that evolved for a completely different world. The challenge is not to fight your brain with endless willpower, but to retrain it for the environment you live in today. Think about how often your mind searches for comfort. When a task becomes difficult, an inner voice immediately begins negotiating. Take a short break. You deserve to relax. You can start tomorrow. These thoughts feel logical because your brain is trying to protect you from discomfort. Yet growth has never existed inside comfort. Every meaningful achievement requires stepping into uncertainty, boredom, repetition, and temporary failure. The people who accomplish extraordinary things are not fearless. They simply become comfortable with being uncomfortable. They understand that every moment of resistance is an opportunity to strengthen the mind, just as muscles grow by resisting heavier weights. Mental discipline grows by resisting the temptation to quit. This is why discipline should never be viewed as punishment. It is freedom in disguise. Without discipline, emotions control your decisions. With discipline, your values control your decisions. Imagine waking up every day knowing that your actions are aligned with your goals rather than your moods. Imagine trusting yourself to keep promises even when no one is watching. That kind of confidence cannot be bought or inherited. It is earned through countless small decisions made consistently over time. Every workout completed, every distraction ignored, every difficult conversation faced, and every promise kept send a message to your brain. I am someone who follows through. Eventually, that message becomes your identity. Over the next few chapters, you'll discover why willpower alone almost always fails, how modern technology hijacks your focus, why identity matters more than motivation, and how tiny daily actions can completely reshape the way your brain operates. Mental discipline isn't a gift reserved for a lucky few. It's a skill that can be learned, strengthened, and mastered. The question isn't whether you're capable of becoming disciplined. The real question is whether you're finally ready to stop letting your instincts control your future and start training your mind to become your greatest ally. Imagine waking up with the best intentions. You promise yourself that today will be different. You'll finally finish that project, start reading that book, go to the gym, or build the business you've been dreaming about. But before your feet even touch the floor, you reach for your phone. One notification becomes 5. 5 minutes become 30. A quick scroll turns into an hour of endless videos, messages, headlines, and distractions. By the time you finally look up, your energy is gone, your focus is scattered, and the motivation you woke up with has already disappeared. This isn't a lack of intelligence or ambition. It's something much deeper. Your brain has been trained to crave instant rewards, and every modern app is designed to exploit that weakness. Welcome to the dopamine trap. Dopamine is often called the feel-good chemical, but that's only part of the story. In reality, dopamine is the chemical of anticipation. It drives you to seek rewards, chase novelty, and repeat behaviors that once made you feel good. Thousands of years ago, this system helped humans survive. Finding food, discovering new resources, or learning useful skills triggered dopamine, encouraging our ancestors to keep exploring. But today's world has changed the rules. You no longer have to hunt for rewards. They are delivered instantly with a single tap. Every notification, every like, every short video, every online purchase, and every new piece of content gives your brain a small burst of dopamine. Individually, these moments seem harmless, but together they rewire your mind to expect constant stimulation. The danger isn't that these pleasures exist. The danger is that they make meaningful work feel boring. Reading a difficult book, practicing a skill, learning a language, or working toward a long-term goal rarely produces immediate rewards. Progress is slow, invisible, and often frustrating. Your brain compares a delayed satisfaction with the instant excitement of social media or entertainment, and naturally chooses the easier option. Over time, your attention span shrinks. Sitting quietly becomes uncomfortable. Deep focus feels impossible. You begin to mistake the absence of stimulation for boredom, when in reality your brain has simply forgotten how to concentrate. This is why many people quit after only a few days. They believe they've lost motivation, but what they've really lost is the ability to tolerate delayed gratification. They expect immediate results from activities that require patience. When the reward doesn't arrive quickly, they assume they're failing and move on to something more exciting. This cycle repeats itself again and again until unfinished goals become a habit. The tragedy is that success almost always belongs to those who are willing to delay pleasure in exchange for a greater reward later. History is filled with individuals who mastered this principle. Elite athletes spend years training before standing on a podium. Musicians practice thousands of hours before performing on the world's biggest stages. Entrepreneurs work through countless failures before building successful companies. None of them relied on constant excitement. They understood that discipline means showing up long before the reward appears. While others chase temporary comfort, they invested in permanent growth. So how do you escape the dopamine trap? The answer isn't to eliminate pleasure from your life. It's to take control of where your attention goes. Start by creating moments of silence. Leave your phone in another room while you work. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Set specific times to check social media instead of reacting to every vibration in your pocket. At first, your brain will resist. You'll feel restless, distracted, and tempted to return to old habits. That's normal. You're not failing. You're retraining your mind. Another powerful strategy is learning to enjoy the process instead of obsessing over the outcome. Instead of asking, when will I achieve success? Ask yourself, did I become a little better today? Shift your focus from instant results to daily progress. Every page you read, every workout you complete, every distraction you resist is strengthening the mental pathways of discipline. These small victories may seem insignificant, but they compound over time, creating remarkable transformation. Remember, the modern world profits from your distraction. Every minute you spend scrolling is a minute you're not building your future. Every click, swipe, and notification competes for the most valuable resource you possess, your attention. Protecting that attention is no longer just a productivity skill. It's an act of self-respect. The people who achieve extraordinary results aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. More often, they're simply the ones who refuse to let the world decide where their focus belongs. The moment you reclaim your attention, you reclaim your life. And once you've learned to control what captures your mind, you're ready for the next and perhaps most powerful lesson of all. True discipline doesn't come from forcing yourself to act. It comes from becoming the kind of person who naturally does. That's where the real transformation begins. Have you ever made a promise to yourself, only to break it a few days later? Maybe you decided to wake up at 5 a.m., exercise every morning, read 10 pages a day, or finally stop procrastinating. For a while, everything went according to plan. You felt excited, motivated, and convinced that this time would be different. But then life happened. You became tired. You got busy. One missed day turned into two, then a week, and before long you were back where you started. Most people blame a lack of willpower, believing they simply aren't disciplined enough. But the real problem isn't your self-control. It's your identity. Every action you take is a reflection of what you believe about yourself. If someone believes they are naturally lazy, they'll find excuses to avoid difficult work. If someone believes they're always late, they'll continue arriving late no matter how many alarms they set. On the other hand, a person who genuinely believes they are disciplined doesn't wake up every morning debating whether to do the work. They simply do it because that's who they are. Their habits are no longer decisions. They become part of their identity. This is where most people make a critical mistake. They focus on changing their results instead of changing the person producing those results. They say, I want to lose weight, I want to make more money, or I want to become successful. But these are outcome-based goals. Once the excitement fades, so does the effort. A stronger approach is identity-based thinking. Instead of saying, I want to read more, say, I am the kind of person who learns every day. Instead of saying, I want to get fit, tell yourself, I am someone who takes care of my body. The goal is no longer something you chase. It's something you become. Think about elite performers. They don't constantly remind themselves to be consistent. Their identity already supports their behavior. A professional athlete trains because athletes train. A successful entrepreneur solves problems because that's what entrepreneurs do. A disciplined student studies because learning has become part of who they are. Their actions feel natural because they repeated them until they became automatic. The same transformation is possible for anyone willing to build a new identity, one decision at a time. But changing your identity doesn't happen overnight. It happens through evidence. Every small action you complete becomes proof of the person you're becoming. Every time you wake up when the alarm rings instead of hitting snooze, you cast a vote for becoming a disciplined person. Every time you choose healthy food over junk food, you strengthen the identity of someone who values health. Every chapter you read, every workout you finish, every distraction you resist adds another piece of evidence that supports your new self-image. Eventually, your brain stops seeing these actions as difficult because they match the identity you built. This leads us to one of the most powerful principles of mental discipline. Small wins create massive change. People often believe success requires dramatic action, but lasting transformation rarely happens through giant leaps. It happens through tiny victories repeated consistently. Imagine trying to push a massive boulder. At first, it barely moves. Every push feels pointless. But with enough consistent effort, momentum builds, and eventually the boulder begins rolling almost effortlessly. Habits work the same way. The first few days are hard because you're creating momentum. Once that momentum exists, consistency becomes much easier. This is why successful people focus less on perfection and more on repetition. They understand that missing one day isn't failure. Quitting completely is. If you skip one workout, don't skip the next. If you miss a study session, return the following day. Never allow one mistake to become a permanent pattern. Progress isn't about being perfect. It's about refusing to give up after imperfection. Another powerful strategy is making your habits so small that failure becomes almost impossible. If reading for an hour feels overwhelming, start with 5 minutes. If exercising for an hour seems difficult, begin with 10 push-ups or a short walk. If writing a book feels impossible, commit to writing just one paragraph. These tiny actions may seem insignificant, but they eliminate resistance. More importantly, they reinforce your identity. The goal isn't to impress yourself with huge achievements on day one. The goal is to become someone who shows up every single day. Remember, confidence isn't something you wait to feel. It's something you earn through action. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens self-trust. Every commitment you honor tells your brain, I'm someone who follows through. Over weeks and months, these small victories reshape not only your habits, but also your beliefs. You stop asking, can I become disciplined? Because you've already become the kind of person who acts with discipline. The greatest transformations are almost invisible in the beginning. No one notices the extra page you read, the early morning workout, or the decision to put your phone away and focus. But those quiet choices are slowly building a stronger mind. One day, people will look at your success and call you talented or lucky. They won't see the hundreds of tiny decisions that created it. But you'll know the truth. Greatness wasn't built in a single moment. It was built through thousands of small wins that quietly transformed your identity one day at a time. Most people believe discipline is a battle that takes place inside the mind. They think the strongest person is the one who can resist every temptation through pure willpower. But psychology tells us something very different. Your environment shapes your behavior far more than your motivation ever will. Look around your room for a moment. Every object is sending your brain a signal. A phone on your desk invites distraction. A television in your bedroom encourages procrastination. A bag of junk food on the kitchen counter tempts unhealthy choices. At the same time, a book on your bedside table reminds you to read. A filled water bottle encourages hydration. Workout clothes laid out the night before make exercise easier. Success isn't only about controlling yourself. It's about designing an environment where the right decisions become the easiest decisions. Think about how companies spend billions of dollars studying human behavior. Social media platforms are designed to keep you scrolling. Streaming services automatically play the next episode before you've even made a decision. Stores carefully place products where you're most likely to buy them. None of this is accidental. The world is constantly shaping your actions, whether you realize it or not. If your environment is designed for distraction, staying disciplined becomes an uphill battle. But if you intentionally design your surroundings to support your goals, discipline begins to feel natural instead of exhausting. Remove unnecessary temptations. Create dedicated spaces for work, learning, and rest. Make good habits visible and bad habits difficult to access. Sometimes the easiest way to improve your life isn't by becoming stronger. It's by becoming smarter about the environment you live in. But even with a perfect environment, there will still be difficult days. Days when you're tired, frustrated, anxious, or overwhelmed. This is where emotional mastery becomes the true test of discipline. Many people believe emotions should control their actions. If they don't feel motivated, they don't work. If they feel stressed, they quit. If they experience failure, they give up entirely. Highly disciplined people think differently. They understand that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent leaders. Fear, frustration, boredom, and self-doubt are normal parts of every meaningful journey. The difference is that successful people don't wait for those emotions to disappear before taking action. They move forward despite them. Imagine a pilot flying through a storm. The clouds may block visibility, turbulence may shake the aircraft, and fear may try to take over. But the pilot doesn't abandon the controls because of uncomfortable conditions. Instead, they trust their training and continue following the instruments until they reach clear skies. Your emotions work the same way. Some days your mind will tell you to stop. It will convince you that you're not good enough, that progress is too slow, or that success belongs to someone else. Those thoughts are not facts. They're temporary emotional reactions. Mental discipline means acknowledging those feelings without allowing them to dictate your choices. This is why daily habits are so powerful. Habits remove unnecessary decisions from your life. Instead of asking yourself whether you should exercise, you simply exercise because it's part of your routine. Instead of debating whether to read, you open the book because that's what you do every evening. Small routines performed consistently create extraordinary results over time. Wake up at the same hour. Make your bed. Spend a few minutes planning your day. Read something valuable. Move your body. Practice gratitude. Reflect before going to sleep. None of these habits will change your life overnight, but together they create a foundation that makes discipline almost automatic. Remember, consistency always beats intensity. Anyone can work hard for a single day. Anyone can feel inspired after watching a motivational video. But real transformation belongs to the person who keeps showing up on ordinary days, when no one is watching, when progress feels invisible, and when quitting would be easier. That's where character is built. That's where confidence grows. Every disciplined action is an investment in the person you'll become tomorrow. As we come to the end of this journey, remember one simple truth. Your life is shaped by the decisions you repeat, not the dreams you imagine. Every choice matters. Every distraction resisted, every promise kept, every difficult task completed is another brick in the foundation of your future. You don't need to become perfect. You don't need to have endless motivation. You only need the courage to make the next right decision, again and again, until discipline becomes part of who you are. One day, people may look at your achievements and assume you were born different. They'll call you talented, gifted, or lucky. They'll never see the mornings you woke up before sunrise, the moments you chose focus over comfort, or the countless times you kept going when giving up seemed easier. But you'll know the truth. Your success wasn't created by one extraordinary moment. It was built through ordinary decisions repeated with extraordinary consistency. So starting today, stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop negotiating with your excuses. Stop allowing temporary emotions to steal your permanent potential. Your mind is more powerful than your circumstances. Your habits are stronger than your fears. And your future is waiting on the other side of the discipline you choose today. If this message inspired you, don't let it end here. Apply just one lesson from this video today, because the smallest disciplined action you take right now could become the first step toward a completely different life. Thank you for watching. If you found value in this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content on mental discipline, self-mastery, and personal growth. Until next time, stay focused, stay disciplined, and keep becoming the strongest version of yourself.